Hey, that was the best comment yet. Check your sound. Check your sound. And, okay, so that means that nobody heard anything that I said. You should be able to hear me now. Nobody heard anything leading up to this. And there should, Brad, there should be audio now. Stanley, I certainly appreciate it, sir, because until you said check your sound, I'd forgotten to check my sound. And that actually segues us into a great initial part of this tutorial. Again, what I was saying before when I didn't realize I had my sound turned off, is that what I'm going to do within this tutorial is we're going to step through using ATEM Mini Pro. So any questions you have about ATEM Mini Pro, Rodecaster Pro, live streaming in general, ask away. Because I've had a lot of people ask me, they're like, they're like, hey man, how do I do this live streaming? How do I do this? How do I do that? And, people want to know, so I'm here to answer your questions live on air. I don't really have a hard stop for this show. This might be an extended duration live show, and that's my expectation, because what I want to do is answer as many questions as there are. What I was saying earlier, I've shared this on my Twitter. I've shared this on my Facebook. I'd like to encourage everyone else to do the same. If you're interested in live streaming, or if you have friends and or colleagues that are interested in live streaming, please share now, because at the time of watching this, if you're watching this at approximately 12:55 p.m. New York City time, that's Eastern time on September the 5th, then this is a live show. After this live show concludes, this video will, of course, become a video that you can play back after the fact. It'll be, public on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/IrixGuy. So if there's a question that's answered, and, maybe during this live show, you just want to ask questions, you want to see things demonstrated, that's however you learn. If you want me to demonstrate it, and then you can go back, after this show becomes a previously recorded live show in a few hours after it concludes, because it takes a while to process after the live show. But you could always go back and see everything that I do step by step in response to your questions. So, again, this is completely free. If you choose to donate, feel free to super chat. That helps my channel. You can also support me on Patreon, patreon.com/IrixGuy. And another way to support my channel is to expand this video's description and then click the link there for live streaming gear. You can find all the gear I'm looking for. And if there's something in particular that you're looking for, please ask me so I can find the product link for you. And again, it's no cost to you to use that link, but if you do, it helps me. It helps support my channel. I'm an independent YouTube channel. So let me go ahead and start out with some basics here with ATEM Mini Pro. Go ahead and ask your questions within the live chat. And if you don't have any questions currently, that's perfectly fine. Just watch and, maybe you'll learn something. But we're going to start out. You probably noticed the biggest mistake that I made, and fortunately Stanley caught it. Brad says, just got myself a smart controller about to fly on my phone. Very cool, man. Have fun with the smart. Brad, we need to do a live show. Maybe if you have bandwidth, maybe we could do a live epic drone show this evening. If you just let me know if you'd be interested in that. So the first thing that, and thanks to Stanley here, that happened, I'm going to share my desktop. So I'm going to share within, so I'm going to go away. Now you see my desktop. Now you're going to see ATEM software control. Actually, let me drag this back over. I'm going to make this full screen here. So what I'm doing now is sharing my desktop. Something I highly recommend everyone do is purchase, and you can find it linked within this video's description, just a cheap cable like you're seeing now. See, this is on my YouTube live stream. So I switched to display this monitor, my virtual computer monitor, let's call it that. I switched program 2. Now see, if I went back to cam 2, which cam 2 is my desktop share that you're seeing right now, where I've got ATEM software control. And we're going to go through a lot of settings within ATEM software control during this tutorial. But see, if I wanted to pop back and you see me face on video, then I would click camera 1. So see, now at the time of me speaking, you're seeing camera 1, but then I click cam 2, boom, you see cam 2, and that's because I clicked cam 2 right there. Sven says, hey, Irix, do you monitor your voice when using ATEM Mini Mic 1 input. Sorry for my English. I'm from Germany. Hey, man, your English is great. Actually, I do monitor my voice. Now, I don't monitor throughout the entirety of my live stream unless I have guests on. But see, right now I've got my headphones on, so I'm monitoring my own audio now. If I had people in live Skype, live by way of my studio's phone, in that scenario, I would also I would wear the headset. Typically, when I'm doing something like this, because I don't like having things, even though these are comfortable, I don't like having things on my head. I typically check my audio levels and then take the headset off, unless, again, I've got Skype guests, I've got, someone on the phone, other ways I'm bringing people in. So, yes, I do monitor audio just to make sure the audio sounds acceptable. And that segues us to an interesting thing here. When we joined the show, Stanley said, hey, man, we can't hear you. And let me show you why that was. So this is ATEM software control. Now, if you haven't used the ATEM Mini Pro yet, and actually this ATEM software control also works with the ATEM Mini. It doesn't just have to be the ATEM Mini Pro. But only the ATEM Mini Pro can broadcast live directly from the ATEM Mini Pro's Ethernet port. The ATEM Mini, the standard, it doesn't have the ability to stream live from the device itself. But the one I do, this stream is going through, it's broadcast from my ATEM Mini Pro because I have the Pro version. But that network port will also allow you to use this ATEM software control if you're on the same network. So a few things with an ATEM software control, and stop me at any point during this rant and, ask questions. Just type your question within the live chat, and I will do my best to answer your question. So what we're going to do now is flip over to, I'm going to show you how to check the audio. So see right here, it's got audio tab. When I came on earlier and Stanley said, hey, man, we can't hear you, that was because, see right here, it says on. I had failed to toggle on. One thing worth mentioning with the ATEM Mini Pro, at least with the current firmware, is that by default, when you power off the ATEM Mini Pro, a lot of the settings are lost. So, with that being the case, when you power it on, you need to power on, a few, I would say 10 or 15 minutes before your live stream to check your audio levels, check to make sure you've enabled your audio. I'm using mic input 1 on my ATEM Mini Pro from audio, and that's because mic 1 that you see here that's active, that's how you're hearing me. Mic 1 is running from mic 1 on the back of the ATEM Mini Pro to the monitor out. There's 2 monitor outs, left and right, on the Rodecaster Pro. And that's how I've got this professional sounding microphone in front of me is, I've got, this audio is coming through the Rodecaster Pro, but it's going into mic 1 on the ATEM Mini Pro. So right now, that's my only audio source. And we're going to go through some more advanced things here in a minute to where I'm going to bring in additional audio sources, but at a bare minimum, this is what you're going to need. Wherever your mic is, and you can see I've got the levels. It's just barely pinging red. You don't want your audio to be too, if I drug this up, it would be too hot. Right now, it's just, in my opinion, it's about right, at least from what I've heard from previous live streams. Obviously you want to speak close to the mic. What we're going to do now is something kind of cool, because you're watching this tutorial, and in a lot of your situations where you're doing a live stream, maybe you're doing some sort of educational live stream and you want to better humanize it. How do you do that? So you can go to, here to Flying Key. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring in, let's see, camera 1, which is A7R4. Let me drag this over to my screen quickly here so I can see. So I can see that I've got the monitor kind of far away from me. So I'm trying to see how this pops up here. Let's see. Output multi-view. Okay, there we go. Let's see. So that's got... I want to say, I'm just checking some settings on my end here. trying to pop myself up in the corner there. Oh, here we go. I'm going to bring, y'all are just seeing a blank desktop right now. I do apologize. So I'm going to show you how to set up let's do this. I'm going to show you how to set up a standard Chroma key first. So this is like, you know, before I go on the air and I want to have, I want to put myself in front of the green screen. So how do I do that? So the first thing I do, this is just a standard. If you've seen any of my live shows where I'm in front of, you know, I'm at the beach or wherever. What I do to do that, I go to Chroma, I go to Palettes, and then I go to Chroma tab, and then I go to Chroma Sample. Now, unfortunately, from where you are, you can't see the multi-view. But what you would do here when you do Chroma Sample, you would resize your little sample area. Again, I've got camera 1, which is my video camera, my face-on video camera. You would resize this and then get a corner edge of your green that just gets a good sampling of your green screen backdrop. And I'm dragging this over here so I can see this in my multi-view. But when you do that, you want to make sure that you've selected a section of your green backdrop that doesn't capture you or any objects. It's just getting the green wall. Now, inevitably, most people aren't going to have a green screen that's perfectly lit. So you may want to resize this to be, you know, to get a larger sampling size like I just did. So you couldn't see what I just did, but what I did, I resized the Chroma key sample. I, you know, relocated it to the side of the screen here. And this side of the screen is where I get, you know, large sampling. I get a little bit of my good green, well-lit backdrop and a little bit of the green, but a little bit of shadow in it. So I get a good sample area. So now that I've got that, what I can do is select my my green screen backdrop. So camera 2 is this screen share that you're seeing. So all that I have on camera 2 from my MacBook Pro, I've got, and you can find all this gear linked within this video's description, but I've got a cable running from my MacBook Pro to Cam 2, which is HDMI input. So that's how I'm able to do the screen share live on the air. Camera 1 is my face on video. So again, if I click camera 1, you're going to see me face on video. But what I want to do now is I want to green screen camera 1. So I want to take camera 1, which was me in front of the green wall, and I want to take that and embed a, you know, a video backdrop. Now, this is something that confuses a lot of people because out of the box, it doesn't seem as if you can use a full motion video green screen backdrop. The reality is with the ATEM Mini Pro, you can use a full motion video backdrop, but what you cannot do, at least with the current ATEM Mini Pro hardware and firmware version, is that you cannot store that full motion video backdrop on the ATEM Mini Pro. Now you could do a still image, and actually let's demonstrate the still image first here, and then we'll go into. So the still image is something that you can do with the ATEM Mini Pro. Let me drag this back over here and switch cameras so you can see my screen here. So now we're going to go back to camera 2. So you're seeing my screen. So if you wanted to use a still image for your green screen backdrop, you can do that without what we're about to do for the full motion video backdrop. So let's say you got a nice photo, you know, it's not distracting, you know, how would you integrate that as part of your live stream, you know, to make it your green screen backdrop? It's actually quite simple. Go to Media tab. You can see here, Media Slot 1, I've got, that's my overlay. That says IrixGuy's live show. So if you want to have an overlay too, you can. For simplicity's sake, let's take that out of the equation for now, and let's just do a backdrop. So to add a backdrop, what you're going to want to do is drag an image file. I'm just using a JPEG. So here's a JPEG file that I'm dragging in from other monitor. And boom. See, it's adding it to slot 1. Keep in mind, at least with the current firmware and the current hardware, if you power off your ATEM Mini Pro, any images that are loaded are going to go away when you power cycle it. And that was interesting. You noticed it didn't load it. I think the image that I chose, the file size of it may have been too large. Let's try another one. Is this one too large also? About to find out, I guess. So you can see the loading of images here. You've got to be really... Let's see if that one loads up. Maybe it's not too big. I'm going to see how large that file is there. Oh yeah, that was a 32.5 meg file. So let's just try to find a standard, try to find a smaller file here. Yeah, this one right here ought to be super small. Yeah, this file I think is about 8 megs. So let's see if it goes in okay. Stanley says, are you using the Rodecaster Pro for all the audio settings effects and or also Fairlight in the ATEM? So this right here, me speaking, is coming through Rodecaster Pro's mic. That sound effect I just played of the crowd cheering, that's coming through the Rodecaster Pro. You know, those little sound effects buttons towards the right of Rodecaster Pro. And I can do other sounds too. So... yeah, I'm not using, no, I'm simply using Rodecaster Pro and ATEM Mini Pro. So I'm not using anything additional here. Let's see. I drag this one in. This one's 8 megs. It's not liking, it's not wanting to ingest my still photos today for some reason. I wonder if I try them on a, that's interesting. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so see, this is what you would get. And again, check the requirements. And this is a common thing that you might run into because, see, I seldom use images as my green screen backdrop. You know, I'm using full motion video that we're going to go through here in a minute, but this right here is a photo I took. This was in the Waldorf Astoria's lobby before they did all the renovations and pretty much ruined the place. But yeah, so we're going to use that as a green screen backdrop. So again, we go to Chroma. We select our field source, which in my case is camera 1, and I've added the additional naming at the end of camera 1 that says A7R4, so I know it's my Sony A7R4 camera. So now what I would do is select for the, so you got to turn your keying on here. I'm going to drag this over to my monitor so I can see this, and then I'm going to drag it back and show y'all exactly what I did here. I've got my preview monitors across the room, so I can't see the tiny details there. So let me set this up, and then I'm going to show you how I set it up here. Let's see. Be just a second here, and I'm going to show y'all. So this right here just has me keyed out in front of that backdrop. But what I want to do is do in front of so see now you see me in the Waldorf Astoria lobby. So let me flip back over to camera 2 here so you can see the desktop. So what I did to achieve what you just saw is I put my preview on camera 1 and then my program to the media file 1, and then I turn this on. So again, that on with, I've already chosen the chroma key settings like I did earlier. And see, that's what results in. I'm going to flip over here because right now you're seeing my desktop. Well, I think you are. Hold on. Let's see. I wish I had another camera so I could show you my multi-view. No, you're still seeing me face on video. So if I go back to, oh, there I am in front of the desktop. See, look at this. See, now I'm dragging that. So in this scenario, instead of using, see, like right now you can see for program view, I've got cam 2 right there. See, there's cam 2. So that's why you see my desktop but me in front of it. And you're seeing me in front of it because, see up there it says on air. That's why you're seeing me in front of the desktop. So see, if I toggled that on air, let me just do that here. See, if I toggle the on air, I go away. I push the on air, I pop up. So if you want to do yourself in front of a presentation, obviously this would not be optimal because you're filling pretty much the entire screen. So turn your chroma key off and then do this. Check this out. This is really cool. So if you just wanted to better humanize your presentation, what you could do is under palettes and then chroma, you've already set all this stuff up, but go down and do flying key. And now what I'm going to show you is going to be kind of cool. So for flying key, see, now when I turn that on, I'm in the corner. Well, what if I don't want to be in the top right corner? How do I adjust that? What if I want to be a little bit bigger? So, I'm sitting here narrating. Well, it's actually very simple. So what you can do is, let's see. Okay, that's your X position. To go down, you're going to want to go your Y position. So that's the one to the right. So down here where it says flying key, let me make this full size again. So down here where it says flying key, you can change your X position or your Y position. See? See, I think I made myself. Let's see, where did I go? So see now, I'm moving myself down in the corner by doing the Y position. So that was this setting right here. It says Y position, but then I can make myself bigger or smaller. So I'm going to make myself bigger by doing the Y position size. And then I'm going to take it up a little bit by moving the Y position. So this would be a way if you wanted to make yourself visible so that, people that are attending, and in this case, y'all watching this live tutorial, you want to make yourself visible but still have your instructional stuff in the background. This is a way to do that. So with that being said, let's hop into some other topics here. So what we just did was the flying key. So again, flying key is probably what you want to use. Again, looking at, you can reposition it using X and Y axis, and then you can also change the size. So, just get a size. It's good for you. That's where you're green screening, but you just want to be in the corner of the video for instructional purposes. So now if you wanted to go full screen, what you would do for full screen key is you would uncheck flying key. And then after unchecking flying key, you would go to, see here I've got camera 2. Well, if I want to use the Waldorf lobby, I'll do this right here, which is the media file. So let me confirm here in my other monitor if I achieved what I wanted to, and I did. So see now, this is a full screen green screen, and I need to adjust my white balance and stuff, but this is a full screen green screen, but I'm using a still image in the background, just a still photo. So how do I do the full motion video green screen backdrops with ATEM Mini Pro? It's a little bit different. So what I have here, if I select camera 4, so we're on, let's see, let me flip this back over so y'all can see my screen again here. So we're on, the media file now, but if I go to camera 4, look at what happens now. So see, when I went to camera 4 now, you can see the palm trees blowing in the wind. And what this is, camera 4, I've got an Apple TV 4K connected to camera 4 input on the ATEM Mini Pro. So all that the Apple TV is doing, it's continuously looping a 4K video. In this case, the background that I filmed at in St. Bart's in the French West Indies. So that's what you're seeing in the background now. And that's how you do video with it. So the video, unlike the image file that we use for the Waldorf, the video is not on the ATEM Mini Pro. The video is just playing, it's coming into the ATEM Mini Pro on camera port 4, which is HDMI input number 4 on the ATEM Mini Pro. So, I'm using an Apple TV 4K. I like that because I can simply stream my 4K video files from my Mac to the Apple TV, and then since the Apple TV is plugged into camera 4 on the ATEM Mini Pro, it just makes it a convenient way to play the video continuously looping in the background, to function as a green screen backdrop. So that's one way to do it. I mean, you could have a camcorder, with an HDMI out, and you could play a video from your camcorder. You could have audio if you wanted to have audio with the, as part of the green screen backdrop, maybe like birds chirping or whatever, you could do that. And let me show you how to do that. Let's see, let's go back over to, let's share camera 2, and let's take me off a Chroma key here so you can see the desktop. So if you had audio as part of your green screen backdrop video, if you wanted that audio to be audible as well, here's how you would do that. So in that situation that I just demonstrated, camera number 4 was my green screen backdrop. So if that video had audio, which I don't, I intentionally left audio out, but if it did have audio, all that I would have to do is go here and then go to on and turn camera 4 audio on. You don't see any audio now because it doesn't have any audio as part of the video file. But that's how you could do it. You could turn it on, or you could do AFV, which that audio from HDMI 4, camera 4, using those two terms interchangeably, that audio could be set to AFV, which means audio follows video. So if you went off of camera 4, that audio would stop. And then, if you had AFV on when you came back, that audio would be broadcast again to your live audience. So that's this audio thing right here is super important. And one thing I want to reiterate, and this is a point of failure for tons of people, including myself. When you're in this audio screen, you look at this. This is front and center. You see your audio levels. What you may not see is this tiny little gear icon in the corner. Now, this gear icon is super important because when you set up your audio, if you didn't do this, if you're using Rodecaster Pro like I am, if you didn't go to Audio, General, and then in my case, I'm using mic 1 for my Rodecaster Pro. If you didn't set that to line input here, you're going to hear annoying hisses and all kinds of horrible audio if that's in microphone. So just a reminder, if you're using some sort of microphone and you're getting just horrible noise and, whatever on your coming from your mic, you probably need to switch this to line. So again, that was, to get to that, I just went to this gear in the corner, and then I went to audio, and then I went to general, and I was able to do line there. So I say it's hidden. To me it is, because it's kind of in the bottom left corner. And I don't, when I'm thinking of a setting that is so important, that's one of the last places I would think to look. I mean, maybe you thought to look there. Maybe that's kind of silly that I mentioned that. But yeah, I mean, there's so much stuff you can do within this ATEM software control. So if you get the ATEM Mini Pro, you definitely need to get you definitely need to connect it to your network and download the ATEM software control from Blackmagic, because, I mean, as you can see, everything we've done here, this just opens up so much more functionality. Now, from the physical device itself, from the ATEM Mini Pro itself, using the buttons on it, you can accomplish a lot. But with this, you can do so much more, and you can even create macros. Now, macros are something that I haven't explored yet, but, as I get my live streaming format down more, as I nail everything down how I want to do it, at that point, probably what I'll do is start creating macros for the commonly recurring tasks that I perform, because that's something that if you can create a macro and avoid all the keystrokes every time, number one, you create a consistent look and feel for your viewers. Number two, you create a consistent workflow for yourself. So, if you're potentially doing a live stream, let's say daily, anything that you can better automate, it'll help you to better enable you not to forget to perform certain tasks, but it'll also make the format more predictable for your viewers. So they know, they can look at the headings that you may flash up, the graphics that you may flash up, etc. Having this computer desktop is super important, because, when you share your, if you've got a cable plugged into, in my case, the MacBook Pro, running into one of the 4 HDMI inputs on the ATEM Mini Pro, that opens up so much functionality. That's my computer desktop behind me. And by being able to have that, I can bring people in, because again, I use ATEM Mini Pro, so I've got the network connection. So this live stream right now to YouTube that you're watching, this is all going out of the ATEM Mini Pro's network port. So this is being broadcast live by way of the ATEM Mini Pro. So with that being the case, this virtual monitor that I have behind me is huge. Check out my videos. How do I use Skype? I mean, I can use Skype. It doesn't have to be Skype. It could be any sort of most any video conferencing app. I can have that in the background, and then I can use the flying key like I did earlier to put myself in the corner, and I can interview people, live, pulling them in, face on video with audio by way of this virtual monitor that I've got behind me right now. So that's a must if you're using this for training type situations, for live streaming type situations. I mean, having that having that monitor cable plugged into one of the 4 ATEM Mini Pro HDMI inputs is super important. It's like right now I'm just I'm just dragging around the ATEM software control behind me, but it's just such a cool product. I mean, live streaming now, especially more than ever. See, I'm going to turn myself off of. See now, boom. That's how I put myself in front of or go away. But yeah, live streaming now because of the situation is more important than it's ever been. And I mean, being able to virtually interact with your, in my case, my YouTube audience, but for you, it could be, it could be professional interactions, whatever type business needs you may have, being able to simply pull up like we have here, a piece of software. In your case, it could be a PowerPoint presentation, a keynote presentation. It could be a folder full of photos or videos that you want to share with whomever. Being able to have that functionality and easily control it from a reliable device. And that's one of the things that's so important. A lot of people may not realize, well, why do I need, I can get, XYZ web conferencing software, whatever, why do I need to spend and get the, something like the ATEM Mini Pro like I'm using right now? Well, you may not have to, but the reason that, and I thought I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, why do I want to spend for that? I can get a cheap webcam. Cheap webcam's not going to provide the video quality that you want. Or I can get and I've still got one. I use it in my travel bag, but it's an adapter that goes from my camera. So HDMI, and then it plugs into USB-C on my laptop. It's a small device, but that lets me use my professional camera that I'm using now in conjunction with most any video conferencing software. So that's a good option. But what you don't get with any of that you get with ATEM Mini Pro is a standalone device. So, when I'm doing a presentation, I don't have to worry about my computer crashing. I've got this ATEM Mini Pro that's maintaining the live stream. It's taking care of that for me. Now, of course, if my computer crashed, if I was sharing a PowerPoint or something, that would temporarily go away. But unless my ATEM Mini Pro crashes, my live stream should be okay. Reliability is super important, especially, excuse me. Especially now when and at least this is probably the norm most anywhere. Now with, with the mass adoption of video conferencing, there's a lot of, false perceptions. And one of those, is that, if people aren't in the same place, the same brick and mortar, the same office, if people aren't in the same office, then they just must not be doing their job. So, having a reliable way to live stream, with your employees is super important because, if your live stream is not reliable, then unfortunately that can hurt your credibility. People may say, well, they're not live streaming, they're not doing their job or whatever. So that's one reason to have a reliable piece of live streaming equipment. That way there's, hopefully the possibility of, live stream issues occurring, maybe it lessens that. You're offloading the live streaming pieces from your computer. You're letting a dedicated device like the ATEM Mini Pro control that. So now it does have, again, it does have a little bit of a learning curve. And, I'm not trying to say that this software and hardware is super user friendly, because it is user friendly, but it does require, it's got a little bit of a learning curve, which I don't think is a problem. It's got, a little bit of a learning curve, but it's, once you figure it out, and again, once you develop your workflows, what I would recommend doing, like me, when I come in, I do IrixGuy's live show. If you haven't checked that out, check those out, because I'll start out with my Camera 3, which is one of my 2 Apple TVs. And what Camera 3 does, it plays my intro clip, welcome to IrixGuy's live show episode, whatever. It's playing that. And then I use the transitions. Now, the transitions are something cool here. I'm going to show you the transition and how that works. So let's see. Let's take me off of here. So if I want to transition from, let's say, my computer screen, so I'm doing the screen share, I'm instructing everyone how to do blah, 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 and then I want to transition to me face on video, well, I can drag this little virtual knob. Now, see, there I am. So, see, now you see me face on video. I turned the green screen off, and I did that intentionally because I want you to see this, my green screen, although I try to make it as well lit as possible, you can see there's a little bit difference in brightness there versus over here, and then down here you can really see some shadows. So when I did the Chroma key sample earlier for, you can see I'd make a poor weatherman, but when I did the Chroma key sample earlier, I sampled right around in here because you can see there's green, there's a more well-lit green, and then there's a more shadowy green. So I did the sample box kind of in this area. And that was intentional, and, because I didn't want, and that's why I made the box as small as I did, because I didn't want to risk getting this microphone cable in the sampling. I didn't want to risk getting my clothing, myself. All that I cared about was the green, for the sole purpose of being able to cut out, to green screen, to chroma key out the backdrop and replace with full motion video, my computer screen share, a still photo like I did of the Waldorf Astoria's lobby from many years ago. So that's super important. Your lighting, and you need to adjust. Your camera has something called white balance, and something I want to work on because inevitably I've got a little bit of a looking at me on camera right now, I've got a slightly, I wouldn't say the white balance is perfect. So ideally what you want to do is minimize minimize the amount of variables that you have. So if you're able to live stream from the same desk, the same location every day, if you're able to connect your camera, have everything perfectly positioned and aligned, and you're not in a shared space, if you're able to do all of that, set it up and leave it, and then that way when you come back, later that day or the next week, whatever the situation may be, in theory, everything should be optimally placed, and you should be able to repeat the results from the previous live stream. So, that's the way I've got stuff set up here in my studio. It's a small studio, but I've got blackout curtains, and that prevents outside light, because one thing, if you've got a window in your studio, or not necessarily a studio, but wherever you're broadcasting from, that's going to impact the light. If you're doing, especially if you're doing green screening, every time you do a live stream, if you've got light shining in that window, it may be sunny, it may be cloudy, it may be a combination of each. And those fluctuations in light will, tinker with your live stream visual quality. So, and likewise, noise. If you're in an environment with a lot of noise, a lot of background noise, you probably want to eliminate that. Something I've done, and again, I'm a professional YouTuber, so I've got acoustic panels throughout my studio. So I've worked to eliminate room echo. I've invested in the equipment you can find linked within this video's description for more professional, high-end live streams. You want to make sure your audio and your lighting is as controlled as possible. And again, eliminate those variables. If you do have to move stuff, maybe you're in a shared workspace. If you do have to move stuff, you can get, it doesn't have to be anything fancy. It's called, painter's tape. That blue tape that you get at like a paint store or whatever, and you can tear it off and stick it down, but it's not too sticky to where, it probably won't ruin a lot of surfaces. What I like to do, if I move stuff around, say I have to move my lights, for example, say I have to move my camera, I'll get that painter's tape and place it exactly where the feet of the tripod for the camera is, exactly where the feet for the lights are. And then I'll take a photo with my smartphone, so I've got a visual of how I had it set up, And then I've got the painter's tape so that if I do have to move and reset up, say you're cleaning your studio. Maybe it's only every few months you do that or whatever. You got to move stuff around. At least you've got it marked. So when you put it back, in theory, it should all be the same. You should be able to achieve those consistent results because you put everything back as closely to where it was as humanly possible. So that's an important thing to remember. The other thing is, oh man, that's good. Good water. Just again, the importance of keeping things as consistent as possible, because you're not introducing variables. One of the most idiotic things, and see, a lot of people don't realize this. Unless you've live streamed a lot, unfortunately, prior to the pandemic, I'd been live streaming a lot prior to the pandemic, and I just really cranked up my live stream frequency and my live stream quality after the pandemic hit, because it was just, it was more relevant, after the pandemic hit us, because it's what's the word for it? Your live stream quality is the face for your brand now. So if you've got poor live stream quality, then people are not going to perceive you as well as they would if you had good quality. And that's why, even for me, IrixGuy is a venture channel. I mean, this channel is not that big. I think I'm almost at 77,000 subscribers and around 54 million video views. There's a ton of larger YouTube channels. But even though there are larger YouTube channels, it's my goal to become the largest YouTube channel. And to do that, that takes an investment in quality equipment. And this is quality live streaming equipment. Sure, I haven't nailed the ins and outs of it yet. I'm still learning, just like y'all are. But that's why I'm hosting these question and answer sessions, because this Q&A session right now, I know a lot of people on a Saturday are probably not able to watch this right now on a Saturday. But this is a video after this live stream concludes that will be replayable. So, watch this, come up with your questions, because I'm looking for, future live stream tutorial topics. My goal is to address everything humanly possible pertaining to live streaming, because it's just it's a portfolio of value. Number one, it hopefully provides y'all with useful information. Useful information. It hopefully provides y'all with a forum to ask questions. You're using ATEM Mini Pro. You're using a Rodecaster Pro. How do I do this? How do I do that? I know I've responded to a lot of those questions with just standard videos, but I like the live format a lot more. So, if there's something in particular you're looking for, and you would like to say, hey, man, are you available X time, X date to host a live stream and talk about whatever, just ask. The best way to ask is comment down below, and I'll try to set up a live stream and address those questions, because, it's something that may help you. And I mean, ultimately, this is also helping me, because it's bringing more people to my channel. I'm trying to grow my subscribers. I'm trying to grow my video view count. So, anything that I can post that provides value and or is entertaining is something that I'll go after. So that's what's going on here. And I mean, this is this is just a Q&A session. Had a few questions here, and I really want to dive into a lot more depth. So if you're just now watching this and it's after my live stream's concluded, please ask your questions. Please share this video with others. Subscribe. Support my channel if you want to. That's why I'm doing this. So, ask away, and we will do another, hey, maybe tomorrow. Come up with some questions, and let's see if we can get a really super interactive live stream going here to answer your ATEM Mini Pro questions and or your Rodecaster Pro questions. So with that, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. And, ask away, share. Thanks for your viewership, and be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com /IrixGuy. Y'all have a good day.